AEW's young history is filled with scandal, disgrace, and controversy. But you'd never know it if you read Dave Meltzer for half off. In fact, the Fake Observer Awards' most disgusting promotional tactic has gone to WWE every year since 2017, which means AEW has never won a most disgusting promotional tactic award from Chief Glazer Dave Meltzer, surprise, surprise. When the Observer runs out of disgusting promotional tactic ideas to shame WWE, they just run it back with that tired, two-faced Saudi Arabia narrative. So if you wanted to learn about the all-elite scandals over the years, Meltzer's whitewashed awards make it seem like AEW is controversy-free, despite all the backstage brawls, shoot promos at pressers, dead dad gimmicks, mean tweets targeting black women, and AEW refusing to stop a match when a future Hall of Famer almost died. Today, we're giving AEW the credit it deserves for being disgusting by naming AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic every year since they started in 2019. Including AEW's own dealings with multiple corrupt governments that nobody talks about. Subscribe in Swahili. AEW opened its doors in 2019, but they were only open for less than a year before what I consider to be their first major controversy. Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in an unsanctioned lights-out match. The main event of Full Gear 2019 was a foreshadowing of what would become one of the main criticisms of AEW, a reliance on violence for the sake of violence. We all love ECW, and we all love the Attitude Era, which was inspired by ECW. But bounce checks or not, neither was a sustainable business model for a wrestling promotion that relies on the health of its top athletes. Omega and Moxley faced backlash for going too far. Dave Meltzer hated the match's violence, but he's an idiot, so he gave them 4.5 stars. You know who really thought it was disgusting? Aria Winter. Her words and mine. But Aria Winter is a bad faith journo in the tank for WWE. Let's see where she works. Oh, that's right. The Wrestling Observer newsletter. What do they pay her in Meltzer meme coins? A runner-up for AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic in 2019 was doing business with a country whose government killed a journalist. No, not the Saudis. These United States of America when the LAPD killed columnist Ruben Salazar with tear gas. In fact, here's a whole Wikipedia page on journalists murdered by the US government. Wow, that's a long list. That's crazy. Disgusting, really. Not pictured is BJ Bethel, who is alive barely and is not a real journalist. And fortunately for the US, it's not a brown government killing off columnists, so I don't know, get over it. In 2020, AEW slogged through the pandemic. With COVID shutting down America, pro wrestling had to adapt with matches in empty arenas, cinematic matches, and mostly kayfabe backstage brawls. The most infamous match that year came during a broken rules match between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara. In a dangerous spot, Guevara speared Hardy off a scissor lift. The two missed the table, causing Hardy to hit his head on the concrete floor. AEW referee Aubrey Edwards threw up the X sign, and AEW's physician checked on Matt Hardy for several minutes. But instead of ending the match, AEW embodied the spineless spirit of Tony Khan and was helpless to stop a concussed Matt Hardy from going into autopilot and continuing. The broken rules match went on for several minutes before its merciful ending. Matt Hardy was rushed to the hospital shortly after. A dishonorable mention for AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic in 2020 was AEW doing business in the United States, despite its violent history of slavery and its enduring refusal to pay me reparations. The United States' historically vile treatment of black people is a disgusting tactic in and of itself, but Tony Khan's treatment of a promising black talent was the most disgusting tactic the following year. AEW's lowest moment of 2021 came at the buzzer. On New Year's Eve 2021, Tony Khan literally used his platform to promote a B show by taunting a black woman. After leaving AEW, Big Swole talked about how a lack of diversity in AEW led to her decision to part ways with the company. A culturally clueless Tony Khan fired back, calling Big Swole out of her name while questioning her wrestling acumen. The top 2 AEW execs are brown, me and Mega. Jade, Bowens, Castor, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, and Mark Quinn all went on TV this month. The TBS title tournament has been very diverse. I let Swole's contract expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't good enough. AEW Rampage, Street Fight tonight! Tony came under so much fire for that tweet you'd think it was written in Farsi. Even AEW's own Leo Rush demanded an apology from Tony Twitterfingers, who was born on that day. In fact, me and the group chat talked all about it right here. By being so dismissive of Big Swole and her valid concerns over inherent bias in AEW, Tony Khan proved what I had already been saying about AEW for months to that point. AEW is a territory looking to push all elite white people. A dishonorable mention for that year was MJF using Brian Pillman's real-life death in his storyline with Brian Pillman Jr., and also AEW doing business with the United States, which was still under a Muslim ban in 2021. Yes, a literal Muslim ban that tore families apart and put their kids in cages. We'll be right back. "2022 was AEW's most scandalous year to date, all thanks to the Brawl out. After a fiery shoot promo from kin of the show CM Punk, Cousin Phil followed up his pipe bomb with some punches in a wild backstage shoot fight with the Young Bucks. Tony Khan was frozen in silence as CM Punk buried his company 6 feet into the ground. Tony was radio silent about the incident in interviews. I have a whole documentary about everything that went down here. Tony's many failures in leadership and the fallout from the Brawl out led to the AEW CM Punk saga poisoning 2023 as well. A dishonorable mention for AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic in 2022 is AEW doing business with the United States, which once sent a gang of Indians on a deadly trail of tears and just overturned Roe v. Wade that same year in a move that many consider a violation of women's rights. In 2023, CM Punk left AEW in a blaze of glory after fist-fighting Jack Perry over real glass. Before the inevitable Brawl in, Tony Khan and AEW agreed to give CM Punk his own show despite Punk going scorched earth on AEW the year before. But that's only the runner-up for AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic of 2023, because that dishonor goes to Christian Cage. The exploitation of death or near death has won 10 awards in the Wrestling Observer tabloid, but Sling Blade Dave and his brainwashed bubble couldn't be bothered to do the same for a guy whose whole gimmick was literally making fun of parental death. Look, I'm a comedian and a damn good one. I've got a special coming out soon, and I thought Christian's dead dad gimmick was hilarious. But given the beacon of fake outrage that is the most disgusting promotional tactic award, especially when it comes to exploiting real-life death, it's beyond hypocritical for Dave and them to not give Christian Cage that award in 2023. Me and the group chat talked all about that here. Christian Cage's dead dad gimmick seemed like a shoo-in for AEW's first disgusting promotional tactic award, but instead, they gave it to Vince McMahon for a corporate takeover that was reversed a few short months later. Another dishonorable mention in 2023 was AEW doing business with the United Kingdom for All In, even though the UK murdered thousands of Kenyans during the Mau Mau uprising and just passed the Online Safety Act that year, which expanded government authority to regulate and censor online content, therefore willfully participating in the suppression of free speech. Bruv. CM Punk continued to haunt AEW in 2024. In fact, while he was in AEW, he went on a streak of trolling the company for 17 months straight. The group chat and I talked all about that here. One of Punk's shots at AEW came during WrestleMania season when he told Ariel Helwani what really happened between him and Jack Perry during the Brawl in.
I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit.
AEW tilted, and as part of their crash out, the Young Bucks aired the security footage from the Brawl in on Tony Khan's television. This resulted in short-term buzz, followed by a long-term fall-off that continues to this day, because CM Punk was not available for the payoff of an angle that centered around CM Punk. Geez, 3-time Booker of the Year, really? Dishonorable mentions in 2024 include Tony Khan making a Harvey Weinstein joke on the NFL Network while promoting AEW, and Mark Briscoe cracking Jack Perry over the head with a steel chair, only for AEW to defend this spot because the chair was shaved down. This brought out strong words from Corey Graves, whose career was ended due to multiple concussions, and former WWE referee Jimmy Corderas. Oh, and AEW working with UK's corrupt government for All In 2024, where they lied about the attendance. Brock Lesnar's return to WWE is a lock to win 2025's most disgusting promotional tactic in the Observer bubble. But the year also featured healthy competition from AEW. But what was AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic in 2025? Was it banning real media from their fake pressers? Was it working with the Texas government, famous for its harsh Jim Crow policies? Was it lying about All In's attendance and trying to force that same Texas government to sign an NDA to keep the lies a secret? To me, AEW's most disgusting promotional tactic this year was Tony Khan lying about his product being family friendly, particularly during times when AEW was about to do some of the most violent shit in all of wrestling. Days before All Out 2025, Tony Khan literally said AEW's plan from day one was to make it accessible for, quote, fans of all backgrounds, of all ages, end quote. All Out went on to become one of AEW's most adult-themed pay-per-views with fires, cursing, and stabbing. AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page spewed those same talking points about AEW being family-friendly while promoting Blood and Guts. Do I even need to tell you how that show turned out? The good news is Blood and Guts broke AEW's 3-week streak under 500,000 viewers, and all it took was no less than 19 bloody wrestlers. If they want to finally break the no Millie streak, they'll have to orchestrate a Caucasian trail of tears. Just by showing you Blood and Guts, we have to put these images in black and white. AEW is not family friendly, and that's okay. What's not okay, and actually kind of gross, is AEW lying about being family friendly in a desperate attempt to appeal to families priced out by WWE. Jon Moxley tried to drown Darby Allin in an I Quit match at Forbidden Door. And after Sarah Stock criticized that spot, AEW advocate Amanda Huber essentially said, "Get over it. You did violence too. I know you are, but when am I?" You can't be half pregnant, just like you can't be kind of family friendly. You'll never see Elmo promoting Sesame Street as a family friendly product. Then when viewers like you tune into PBS, there's a Sesame Street fight out the gate where every Muppet is bleeding. That's not how this works. Either you're family friendly or you're not. And to lie about that just to get a few more people to come to your dying shows isn't just sad, it's disgusting. By the way, I mentioned AEW banning real media, which is exactly what happened to me. To hear the whole story, check out this video.